Hello everyone, quite a long video here for you. So I thought we were done with satellite imagery from Toropets, but a new bunch dropped today, and these are definitely worth a look, because they confirm that a train was there, or rather, trains, and were also destroyed. And as the smoke is cleared on these images, they also confirm some of the other targets at the base. There are some fresh images of the second ammo dump at Toropets as well as the one in Kranodar, which I'll look at the end. These were all shared by George Barros on Twitter. So let's take a look. Before we do so, a quick recap. This is what we had confirmed as destroyed at Toropets when we looked at it last time. Some of the bunkers were obscured by smoke at the time, so it's hard to tell if they were destroyed or not. We had 16 of the hardened bunkers confirmed destroyed by Ukraine out of 42, plus some unknown. Now, the new satellite imagery. Let's see if it reveals more. Here is the before, and here the aftermath, now that the smoke is cleared. So it better reveals the level of destruction at this base. Some bunkers have survived, but a significant chunk of them are gone. Let's zoom in slightly. So starting on the top row, we have survived, collapsed, survived, gone, holes in it. So for all intents and purposes, destroyed, as whatever was inside it would be gone here. Survived, destroyed, crater, destroyed, multiple holes, but the bunker is still there. Survived. Second row, survived, destroyed, survived with a small crater near it. Survived, but there's a hole in it. I think this one was likely empty at the time. I think if ammunition or missiles were inside and the drone pierced its roof like this, then the ammo detonation would have flattened the bunker, or at least caused more damage. Partially destroyed, as it has a massive hole in it, this one too could have been empty. The next four survived. Roll 3. Destroyed, survived. Then another pair with holes in them. So they were hit, but the bunker survived. So again, these ones could have been empty at the time. The next 3 survived. Final row, 2 completely gone, and another one with multiple holes in it, and then finally, a survivor. Finally, the last 2 hardened structures, highlighted in red, both completely gone. So let's see if we can amend our map. Here it is, last time, once more, for a comparison. And here's the new one. 19 completely destroyed, shown by the red cross. And then we have 6 which were damaged to various degrees with holes in them, but may have been empty at the time given the fact that the hardened concrete shelter wasn't completely flattened. But it is possible, of course, that they did have something inside, either in less amount so it didn't detonate as much, or even something that wasn't as detonated as the missiles and artillery shells kept in the others, but I'm not sure what they might be. I do remember in one of them, the last time we looked at the satellite imagery, there was a plume of smoke coming from some of the holes, so something was burning within, but I'm not sure what. So, 25 bunkers hit in total. Our last map showed 16 completely destroyed plus 5 possible, so we've added 3 to the completely destroyed tally here. Here are both maps side by side, the before on top, the after below, so we can see the newly confirmed bunkers. So, starting at the bottom, we've added plus 1 destroyed, 1 damaged, but possibly empty. On the next row up, we've added 2 destroyed, plus 2 damaged, but possibly empty. Next row, we actually have confirmed 1 has actually been undamaged. On the top image, you can see it's marked by a blue question mark as we didn't know, but the one next to it is also confirmed as destroyed now. We also have confirmed 2 more has been damaged but empty, and confirmed 1 more as actually surviving. The top row now, we've added 1 more to the tally and confirmed the survival of another, and also amended 1 bunker as damaged but lightly empty, as opposed to destroyed. Now, before we move on to our next satellite images of Toropets, I want to take a closer look at that massive crater. Here's a Google map view of the 2 structures. These look to be newly built from what I can tell here. The one on the right hand side is the one where the crater was caused. Now, on the Google map view, check just to the north of it, you can see an odd little green box shape. This isn't present near the other concrete shelters. I did wonder if this was the entrance to the bunker, and this one was actually underground, I don't think it is, but I'm still not sure what this green box-shaped structure is. But checking the size of our absolutely massive crater here, I'm wondering if this bunker is where the Iskander missiles were kept, because that crater dwarfs the others that we can see. Something pretty big was stored here. Let's check the top section. So the top section is shown here. We actually saw this pretty well the last bunch of satellite imagery we looked at. So we have already confirmed destruction of pretty much every single building here. So this new image isn't telling us anything new as such, but it is interesting to see that this section is still smoking days later. Now we're going to move on to the next section of the base. First, this is what we had confirmed as destroyed during the last satellite imagery we looked at a few days ago. This area was covered with a lot of smoke, so bits of the ammo dump were obscured and couldn't be confirmed. At the time, we had 21 destroyed structures or storage areas here. We're going to start again with the before here, as it gives a nice overview of this section of the base. So, you can see here, this section of the base was given quite a severe drubbing. Most of the structures here confirmed as destroyed or damaged by Ukraine's drone strike. Now, this you'll find quite interesting. So, a Patreon subscriber messaged me about this section. He served as a medical officer in the army and had a friend who was in the artillery. So, according to him, this section of the base was primarily where ammunition liberation may have been carried out. This basically refers to the process of assembling and manufacturing ammunition and restoring it, repairing it, and that sort of thing. Now, ammunition wasn't made here, and a lot of in the message went over my head with some big words which I didn't understand. But from what I can gather is, basically, after a certain amount of time in storage, rounds need to be relaberated to fix general wear and tear and cracks and cavities that may form in them and affect their effectiveness, as well as shrinking propellants and the like. And this is where that work was carried out. The sheds here are lightweight and placed far apart in order to prevent chain reactions in case of a detonation. The person also suggests that this liberation area may have been working 24/7 in order to liberate and refurbish basically the North Korean ammunition sent here, which wouldn't be in very good condition. So basically, making it so Russia could actually use it. So this strike may have been even better than we thought, not only bagging the ammunition storage, but also destroying the liberation facility, working to get the North Korean shells up to code, and possibly, even more importantly, the specialists carrying out such work if they were here at the time. To me, a lot of this does make sense. This section doesn't look like your typical ammunition storage area that we see, although we did see in past satellite imagery that crates were kept here, but out in the open. As for the North Korean shells, well, it's North Korea. I doubt maintaining the shells is going to be a tip-top priority, so I can definitely imagine we need some work when they arrive in Russia. So, this strike on Toropets gets better all the time, if this is accurate. I imagine the equipment used to carry out this work and the specialists will be quite hard to replace. Let's add to the newly confirmed destroyed buildings and structures. I've added them to the map in blue. Last time, most of these were either covered in smoke or not clear enough, but in this section we can add 12 more, bringing our tally to 33 total in this area. At the bottom right you can see a small cluster of buildings centred around a large warehouse. These were untouched, no idea why. I'm guessing this was deemed an unimportant target. Now, that isn't actually all that I have for you from here. We have some nice zoomed in photos of certain sections of the Toropets base. After we look at these, we'll then check the fresh satellite imagery from the other two locations. First on this image here, we can see a crater measuring nearly 82 meters wide. No idea what was here at the time, but it certainly went off with a pretty big boom. I'm guessing this is missiles or the point of impact for one of the drone. I think missiles were likely in here at the time it was hit. And that is certainly a huge crater. Additionally, check out the destroyed trees surrounding it. It now resembles the Tunguska event. That blast was absolutely massive. That isn't all that's interesting on this image. On the left hand side, you can see a destroyed train which was here at the time. Here's it zoomed in. So, At the bottom is what I think is the locomotive itself, now a blackened husk. Then a row of 13 trucks, all in various degrees of damage and destruction. Some derailed, a few look relatively okay, but the final bunch are completely destroyed. Shortly after this strike, Ukraine did report that a train was here at the time, so this definitely confirms that to be the case. The strike continues to get better and better, at least for us, not so much for Russia. We can add a train to the list here, and we have more trains to come. First though, highlighted in blue, is a vehicle of some kind. I can't tell what, I'd assume some sort of logistics vehicle. I can't tell if it's damaged and abandoned, or if it arrived here on the scene afterwards. This image here shows what this area looked like before Ukraine hit it. This is worth a side-by-side comparison, so here we are. That was certainly one heck of a detonation. I'd guess the drone hit that central building, causing the crater and blowing up whatever was in it, the resulting blast obliterating all of the surrounding structures. I'd love to know what was in here at the time. Another image from Toropets here. First here, a before. No date was given, so I don't know how long before this image was. We can see this is an outside storage area with a railway line leading into it. And here, the after. Whatever was stored here at the time has become a million pieces now, just dust remaining. And we can see a crater as well near one of the defensive berms that was built to protect it. Also here at the time we have our second train. This one actually extending out of view, so it was a big one. The top and bottom halves of it seem okay, but the ones near the ammunition storage area are a mess. Some completely destroyed, others damaged. Train talk continues on this image here. This shows another long train parked up. This looks to be around 17 destroyed or damaged wagons here. So, more bad news for Russia. Zoomed in on two key sections here. These look like crates were unloaded and stored, and something was here when the drone strike took place, because those two spots now resemble the surface of the moon. Lots of little craters, and lots of fire damage and burning is visible here. Let's move on to our second batch of satellite imagery. These are from Oktyabrski, which is near Toropets. This is here, shown on the Google Maps image. We looked at the first batch of satellite images from here yesterday. So here, what we had confirmed as destroyed last time. So a near complete wipeout of this ammo depot. Now, there are only a handful of new satellite images from here, but they are worth a quick look. No big overview was shared, but rather some close-in photos. On screen now is the before, and here the after. Almost complete destruction. 13 buildings gone in this section. Let's make it a little bit easier. So 13 destroyed buildings numbered. The other areas of destruction you can see were outside storage areas filled with crates on the before. But as no date was given, we don't know how soon the before photo was taken and whether any of the crates had been since moved. We can see that the outside storage areas do have signs of fire and even craters, so were likely occupied by something. On the left hand side, a building that survived. On the right hand side, some crates and stored presumably ammunition which actually survived. The luckiest ammunition crates in the world. Seems to be a decent bunch here, so if Ukraine can hit it again, might be worth a go. But I'd expect Russia to move this away as soon as it can. Here is a section zoomed in. A nice big crater surrounded by fallen trees. So something very big was stored here it seemed. Now here is a good one. This image suggests that the before was the day before the strike, maybe sooner. Reason being, check the train at the top of the screen, near the grey roof buildings. This is there on the aftermath, as we shall soon see. First though, the important bit, and I think you'll like this. Check what has been unloaded by the trains shortly before this drone strike by Ukraine. These look like missile tubes. Now, I can't tell what type of missiles, but there are a lot of them. Comparing this image with Google Maps' image, I measured these between 7 to 8 meters long. That is pretty much the length of various missiles used for the S-300 and S-400 SAM systems, and also the Iskander missile launcher. It's also the length of the rockets used by the BM-30 Smerch, which are 7.6 meters long. So I think it's looking very likely that a fresh shipment of either Iskander, S-300 or Smerch rockets were here at the time. Let's check the aftermath. So, yeah, pretty much destroyed. At the top, you can see the same train parked up. So the before and after were taken very close to each other. Almost all of the rocket or missile tubes were destroyed. There are a handful that did survive. You can also see scattered around this area a number of small craters from falling debris, shrapnel, and the like. So, a pretty sizable stockpile of missiles was destroyed here. I would guess that these were not Iskander, because I think the crater would be much bigger if a bunch of Iskander went up. So, S-300 missiles or Smerch rockets, I think. Not too shabby at all. I think I'm going to group these three strikes together and put them joint top of the table as the best Ukrainian strike of the war, alongside the ones that got the Crimean Bridge. This one here just keeps getting better and better as we will take a look at it. Now, I don't have any more images from Oktябrsky, but I do have some fresh ones from Krasnodar. First, a refresher. So, the latest satellite image we had from here was shortly after the strike, so there was a lot of smoke. But what could be identified was the following impact marks in red, two possible ones in blue. Well, now we have some very clear satellite imagery, so we can definitely add more to our map here. First, here's a satellite image from before, and you can see that this ammo dump has been greatly expanded. The Google Map view is from early this year, I believe May. Since then, Russia has added a lot more storage areas to this place, so straight away our original map is out of date. Here's the aftermath. So the strike was much more successful than we first realised. A huge amount of structures and outside storage areas destroyed here, pretty much the entire base. Here's a zoomed in section. You can see here that this ammo dump consists of a number of warehouses in blue. Could be the relaboration units here again. Remember what we discussed when we looked at 3 cups of tea ago at Toropets. For me, the most interesting bit here are the 4 hardened structures highlighted in red. You can see that these are much better secured than the other warehouses. They look to be semi-submerged and with an entrance at both ends. These measure 70 metres end to end and are over 40 metres wide. Given the hardened structures, I would guess important stuff, possibly missiles, was stored here. You can see crates stacked next to the two on the left, suggesting that these may be full to capacity and have some overflow. Otherwise, why else keep the crates outside of them? So, let's check out the aftermath, and here it is. This area was absolutely smashed. Most of the outside storage areas show signs of damage and destruction, with the crates in them completely gone, as do the warehouses. Only one warehouse in the top right is still standing, but even that has a number of holes in its roof. The blue one next to it is technically still standing, but looks like it's now held up by the power of prayer. Let's zoom in a bit. You can see that the hardened structures themselves appear to have actually survived. There are burn marks to them, but they don't look to have been penetrated for the most part. However, there is something interesting, actually a few interesting things. Firstly, the entrances to each of these hardened structures show signs of damage. That appears to me that Ukraine identified the entrances as a weak point and attempted to fly the drones directly inside, either because they thought the door might be left open, or they thought the doors would be weaker than the concrete structure themselves and tried to basically just smash their way through. That's pretty interesting. No idea if they actually got through and managed to detonate, or just impacted on the side or on the door itself. I would imagine if they got inside and detonated, then the resulting blast would have destroyed these bunkers. But that would depend on what was actually inside them. It could be that these were actually secure enough to actually survive an internal detonation, unlike those at Toropets. The second interesting thing is here. We have 2 more destroyed trains, the blast derailing them. So the Fat Controller isn't going to be happy. These now resemble the time Percy was put in charge of a flying kipper. Let's zoom in on a section of the base here. You can see that most of the newly dug in positions here, the storage ones, are occupied with crates of some kind. And you can see on the aftermath that they are all destroyed. So this strike on Krasnodar is much more impressive and much more important than I first thought initially with the initial satellite images. These newly built in dug in positions here shows that there was much more ammunition stored here than originally thought. and the Google Map image is definitely out of date, making this look like a smaller facility than it was. You can see another train on this image parked up, running through a centre. This one, surprisingly, looks to have survived. You can see it next to a row of various destroyed crates, however. Now, at the time, Ukraine did report that this strike was hit and carried out whilst the train was actually here, either unloading or having just unloaded. This image definitely confirms that has been the case. It looks to have just unloaded its supplies, which were then hit and all destroyed. The train looks intact, but some sections of it may have suffered shrapnel damage. Last section to look at here. So this is the area just north and west of a green pond. Not sure why Russia has a pond in the middle of their ammo dump. But once again, a number of newly built storage positions are here, all occupied by crates of some kind. Now, just one small section on the left that emerged unscathed. You can also see the train here as well. It looks to have survived the strike here. For our overview here, it's easy to highlight the surviving buildings and areas. So we have one outside storage area on the left with a handful of crates, one outside storage area at the bottom with a decent amount of crates, 4 hardened bunkers with signs of damage, but it is possible the drones did penetrate the doors, we can't tell. Above that, another outside storage area with a handful of crates, then a grey roofed warehouse with a few holes in the roof. So, this ammo dump in Kranodar almost completely destroyed, wiped off the map, as is the case for the other two actually. So what an amazing series of strikes here by Ukraine, and all of this achieved by drones. It was likely the new Palancia jet drone used here. There are 2 variants of that drone. One here, shown by H.I. Sutton, a sort of modified version of a British Banshee drone, with an increased range. The Banshee was originally a target drone, but the UK armed them and sent a bunch to Ukraine. This version of the Palancia looks very similar to the Banshee, but has a range of over 200 kilometers. The second Palancia variant is this, shared by Chuck Farrer on Twitter. Looks like a small cruise missile crossed with a drone, with a range of over 600 kilometers. I think these were the ones used to hit the ammo dumps given the long ranges involved here. So, a very impressive strike by Ukraine, and some interesting new information confirmed with these images. Notably, the destruction of 5 trains at these ammo dumps, as well as the freshly unloaded stockpile of munitions at Krasnodar, and a stockpile of what looked to be either S-300 missiles, Iskander missiles, or Smerch rockets at Toropets. So, that's it for this video. Hope you found it interesting. Now, before we finish, I'm going to play a video from the Ukraine Volunteer Centre about the ongoing fundraiser. Big thanks to everybody who's helped out so far. Thanks so much, and take care, everybody.
Good afternoon. Greetings from the Ukrainian Volunteer Center. Kursk region. Ukrainian soldiers and the Ukrainian people showed Russia that we will not be broken. We have shown that international support is very important to us and we are using it to the maximum effect. Now, there is an urgent need for drones and vehicles. That is why we are announcing a new fundraising. Volkswagen T5 for the soldiers in the Sumy direction and 2 Mavic 3T drones for the guys in the Donetsk sector, where we are having a hard time. The goal of fundraising is $18,000.